Vince Villanueva, a manager of music clearance at Netflix and animation, unscripted and kids and family shows. Vince previously worked on the music team that revived American Idol on ABC and served as director of music clearance at DreamWorks Animation from 2015 to 2017. Round of applause for Vince, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So Vince, when you were a student at UCLA, what were your original plans upon graduating? And did they involve working at an entertainment company like Netflix?
So I originally came to UCLA to be a composer, and I was going to be the next John Williams, like every other composer who comes to UCLA. And then I started taking orchestration. I realized, not for me. So I ended up doing music education, and then actually had a job lined up in education at a junior high school when I graduated. But I also wanted to work in entertainment. And so I thought, if I'm going to do it, this would be the time to give it a try. So I decided to pursue entertainment, try and get a job in that field. I got one, and so I put the education and teaching on hold and said, I can always come back to that, you know, if the entertainment thing doesn't work out. 25 years later, here I am. So it worked out. So.
Beautiful. And what are some of the skills you acquired at UCLA that directly applied to your work today?
I would say two. There's two things that come to mind. One is I was a director of an a cappella group, and to be able to direct your peers is very hard. It's very hard to do because you have to be the leader. Some are older than you, some are younger, but you have to make those decisions. So it's being able to make hard decisions and not, you know, as musicians, we tend to be a little more emotional than other people. So to not let the emotion take over, have it be more head than heart. So that was the first thing. The second thing would be, and all musicians do this or have to experience this, is learning how to pivot. So, you know, you're playing outside and your music blows away, so you have to go by memory, or your amp blows, or your chord doesn't work, or whatever. You immediately have to switch, and the show must go on, and you have to figure out how to get to the end. So taking that skill set and magnifying it in my current job, and along the way, it was learning how to pivot when things get really hard, or that when things seem like there's no way we can do this. How can we do this? Well, again, the show must go on. We have to get to the end somehow. So it was those two things, I think, learning here, started here, that really helped me in my career now.
Wow. And how do you go about mastering some of the critical parts of your current job that you didn't learn as a student? Were they on the fly, or were you trained? Does it come along with the position?
Yeah, so I didn't know music clearance existed
Right.
when I graduated from here, because, you know, at the time you were either a composer, a performer, or an educator. And so getting out into the real world, I knew I wanted to work in music, so I had to first learn what other things there were. And so I learned about music clearance. And so taking that and figuring out how that works and what it is really kind of helped me figure out what my path would be going forward.
Can you give a brief example of what music clearance is, or a definition?
Yeah, so music clearance is the legal side of music. So we work with the creative side, and we make sure whatever creatively they want to put in their projects, that we legally have the rights to use those songs. So that's one aspect. That's kind of the bigger aspect. The second is when you have an original song created, or a score, and you want to make sure that the score doesn't sound like anything that's pre-existing or an original song. Now, nobody knows every single song or score in existence, so it is kind of tough to do, but that's why you rely on so many people. So if we were to play an original song here, guaranteed, we'd be able to kind of source everybody and figure out, yeah, I think it's fine to move forward. Now, if it does sound like something's pre-existing, then we have to rely on, like I rely on the training I got here at school in talking with songwriters or composers saying, hey, it's the same key. You know, that's the first giveaway. The melodic rhythm is different, or the chord progression, or whatever it is. To be able to speak that musician language to other musicians gives an advantage to be able to do that part of the job.
Absolutely. And can you tell us about your craziest clearance moment and what it involved?
I have Yeah. So, the-
If you're allowed to.
yeah. No, absolutely. There's two. One is, so I worked at DreamWorks for a while, and we did Shrek the Third, and they insisted on having the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And so in order to get this, they had to, we had to show Led Zeppelin how it was going to be used. The problem with animation is that it's normally in storyboards really early. So, and we didn't want to just send them a link. This was, 2007, so things weren't as advanced as they are now. So we had to actually put it onto tape, fly the tape out to the UK, show them individually what it was, and at the end of the day, if you ever watch the movie, it's only 17 seconds in the movie. So the issue that we had was that it's bookended by two songs. One's an original song, and one is Barracuda on the other side. So it's telling Led Zeppelin, we want to use your song. It starts out with this Little Birdie song that's original, your song, awesome, and then goes into Barracuda. So we good? Eventually, it was a lot of back and forth, but eventually they approved it, and you see it in the film.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, how much? Yeah, and it was expensive, 6 figures. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. So that was the first one. The second one, real quick, was on When They See Us, which is more recent. So it's funny. I was actually on a panel with Ava DuVernay, and this was before Ava was the Ava that we all know, and told her what I did, and she's like, "I'd like to talk to you." I ended up working on her very first short. And it goes to what Nicole was saying, is that you never know what's going to happen. And so now, whenever she does projects, I work on her shows. So I worked on When They See Us, and we were finishing the show. There's 4 episodes. In the last episode, she wanted to use a specific song, and it was a Nipsey Hussle song. And he had just passed away 2 weeks prior. And she absolutely wanted to have this as a tribute to him. And she said, I want you to guide this through. And I'm like, I'll try. But she knew the family. So she was able to give me access to his family. And so I was working directly with them. And we're going. We had to get it done by a certain time. And then there was a pause because I had the Netflix wanted me to keep following up. And I said, I can't tomorrow because it's the funeral. So, and I said, out of respect for him and everyone involved, I'm not going to follow up. And Netflix was like, we totally understand. Because at the end of the day, at the end of that email, on the other end is a human. And so I said, I will follow up on Friday. We got the song. They locked it Friday night in order to qualify for the Emmys. And it ended up doing really well. But we got the song. So.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And very tasteful of you as well. So that's much appreciated. Everyone, Vince Villanueva, thank you so much.
Hi. I had a question for everyone. So when you're getting that first job or that first internship, what is the thing that gets your foot in the door, or what is the key to almost convincing them that you're the thing that they need?
Yeah, pretty much everything they said. The one thing I would add is passion, to have passion for what you want to do. I know when I've interviewed people, I say, why do you want to work in music? And everybody says the same thing. I love music, and I listen to all this kind of music. So I say, what else? Yeah. Well, music makes me feel this. Great. Anything else? What else? Because we feel a lot more. Like, we want those goosebumps moments, and I want to work in an industry where I can get that. Those are the things. Like, you have to really dig deep and let your inside part out, and that passion, I think, will help.
Hi, this is for everyone also. How do you balance when you have a lot of different gigs all in the air at the same time, and prioritize your time, and at the same time be thinking, do I need to clear space in my schedule for the thing that hasn't come yet, and which one do I let go of, and to create this space and know that something you want more is going to come into that space? Because I find myself just so busy, and I'm like, I don't think there's space for the new thing to come in yet. So how would you think about that?
Yeah, I would say similar to Nicole, it's honing your instinct and really trusting that instinct, because that's what's going to get you, you know, to the next thing. So.
I think it's totally.
Hi. I think my question, I think, is mostly for like the gigging side, but a conversation that I have a difficult time with, or that I find a lot of people don't give a lot of information on, I think is like payment and rate. And I'm finding myself kind of like, how do I go into this conversation knowing that like I'm getting paid what I should be and I'm not getting ripped off, especially because I have no like prior knowledge. So how do I kind of enter that conversation and kind of establish a rate?
Well, for keeping it real, when I went from DreamWorks to then go work on American Idol, I took a 33% pay cut in my salary. But at the time, American Idol was the big hit show. So there are trade-offs that sometimes happen. The other thing, too, is whatever they offer, whether you're a songwriter, composer, whatever that number is, it's always good to get clarification as to what it entails. So this means, you know, I pay production costs, I pay musicians, I pay everything out of this, because this range is what I can do. So what that does is it helps not set a precedence. Because if I just gave you one number and that's what you go at, I know the next time, well, they did it for this much then. But if you split it up and really clarify as to why you're getting that, when it comes to the next negotiation, you could say, yeah, we did it there, but production costs actually were twice as much here. Musicians were twice as much here. This is what I'm looking for. So it's a little insider information.
Definitely communicate.
Having worked with a lot of conductors being a cellist, I've had a lot of, say, interesting times that I've had to go through. How would you deal with a problematic person in your field? Just out of curiosity. Thank you.
I would say, yeah, definitely kill them with kindness, but also just to listen and say, let me just clarify what is the issue. Just I want to make sure I hear you correctly, and have them re-explain what the issue is, and then how would you want to help? How can we help you resolve this? And to do that, it really kind of takes the temperature and brings it way down. And then from there, utilize any one of these situations, and you'll be able to solve it.
Well, there we go. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming to the first Insider Access at the UCLA Herb Alpert School of
thank
Music.
you.
Really appreciate it. There's a couple people that I just wanted to thank real quickly: Dean Strempel, Liz Volwinkle, Brandon Faber, Cameron Roberts, Sean Allen, and to all of our amazing panelists: Nicole Cohen, Nicole Garcia, Satya Fuentes, Vince Villanueva, and Jeff Kritka. Thank you so much.